Hello, YouTube. Hello, TikTok. How are we going? I've had such an expansive day on my client calls today. I've had client calls with both my one-on-one, my private clients, which there are only a couple of spots left for like the next 12 months. So send me a DM on Instagram if you want to learn more about that. Or I also had calls with some of my masterminders, one-on-one 90-minute workshopping calls, which I like to offer them as well. You can apply for the mastermind, all the details in the show notes below, but I'm going to share with you a theme that I always notice. It's like all my clients are, I say this a million and one times over and over, all my clients are always experiencing the same thing at the same time, just in different ways, in different degrees. And something that I could say was really prevalent in my client calls today, my conversations I've been having with my other masterminders today, is the notion about your comfort zone and what it actually is and what it actually means. If you have been listening to the podcast since it first released, something that I have said for the longest time is I want you to do what you can to expand your comfort zone and not get out of your comfort zone. That's like the age old saying. Everyone talks about get out of your comfort zone, get out of your comfort zone. So if you I'm doing this because if you imagine this is your comfort zone, everyone tells you to get out. I have been saying I want you to learn how to expand it. And this feeds in perfectly to my woman mastery methodology, which is everything I teach my clients in the three phases. Phase three is all about regulating to a new capacity. What has this got to do with comfort zone? Just gave it away then. Your comfort zone is also your nervous system, right? And the reason that I say expand your comfort zone, because I want you to learn how to expand your nervous system. Phase three of the woman mastery method is all about regulating to a brand new capacity. To be able to regulate yourself to a brand new reality, to a brand new identity, to brand new subconscious beliefs, patterns, reactions, to brand new values, you need to be able to regulate your nervous system. And I know that it has become such a what's the word? Such like a buzz word or a buzz phrase over the past year or two, but let me explain the way that I teach it. I do want to acknowledge regulating your nervous system in the way that's spoken about, that's so popular on social media of, breath work, whether it's yoga as well, whether it's anything like any other healing modalities, breathing. Yes, I'm acknowledging those are important. I do those things as well, but the way that I teach is a little bit different. It's in the sense that I want you to imagine regulating, not just like the breathing and the meditating and the being at peace. I want you to really look at your nervous system regulating to a new capacity as a balloon. And this is how I want to see your comfort zone. So if you are watching this, you're probably ambitious, you're high achieving, you're very success driven. You have things that you want to achieve in your lifetime. You want to live a exciting, fun, wealthy life, an exciting life. You know that you want to create an above average life. This is for you. And if you don't want any of that, that's fine, but this video probably isn't for you. But what often happens with high achievers, and all of my clients are high achieving women, is I see that they hit this glass ceiling. And I just recently did a podcast episode about that. So go look on my channel for that, or on Spotify or iTunes, the Jessica Pinili podcast. What happens? They hit this glass ceiling, or they feel like this really icky feeling, and they don't know what it is, and so they restrict back, they constrict back to what they've always done. But they work harder, they do more, they add more to their to-do list, like changing your life. A lot of high achievers think you have to add more to your plate, right? And you get into these burnout cycles. And what I see with these high achievers is, yes, they have these big goals, they have these big ambitions, they are probably listening to the podcast, watching YouTube videos like this. Maybe they've hired coaches, maybe they've even gone to therapy, maybe they are reading a brand new book every single week, but they can't seem to get past their current level, or it feels like this uphill grind. It feels like I am doing all of the things and ticking off all of the inner work, personal development boxes, but I'm not where I thought I would be right now, or it does not make sense why I haven't achieved XYZ, right? This is for you. If you're listening to this resonating, you probably need to work on phase three that I teach in the woman mastering method, which is regulated to a new being, which is understanding that your comfort zone is your nervous system. This is why when people say get out of your nervous system, I don't resonate with that, because if your comfort zone is your nervous system, you want to expand it. Something I've spoken about many times on this channel, you can go through my lives, is constriction versus expansion. If you were trying to create a new reality, if you were trying to create a brand new being, if you were trying to create a brand new way of being, brand new behaviors, brand new identity, then you need to be able to be in an expansive state. You need to be able to expand your nervous system. You need to be able to do things from an expanded consciousness. A lot of people try to do these things, but they're working harder, they're getting burnt out, they're doing all this inner work, they don't know why it's not working, but because they're constricted, because they're living in the fear of being judged, or the fear of being seen, or the fear of being rejected, or the fear of failure. That's, one of the top things I see in high achievers, is big, huge fear of failure. And so they constrict. They do the work, and then when they're about to get to the point where they're going to break through, and let me know if you're watching this live, if this is resonating with you, or if you watch the replay on YouTube, and then they all of a sudden they constrict. And so if your comfort zone is your nervous system, they constrict and they go like this. And the analogy that I give is, look at it like a balloon. When you are blowing up a balloon, and as you're about to get to the part, so pretend I've just blown up a balloon and the balloon is like this, right? As you're making the balloon bigger, then what happens? You stop, and you start to freak out. You start to freak out because you go, I don't want this balloon to pop in my face. I don't want, like, so what do? You blow in a little bit of air, you constrict it, you release some air, and then you think, oh, okay, you've got the balloon, you've put it down a little bit, you've constricted it, you tie it, and you're like, okay, I feel better. That is what so many high achieving, success driven people do. And I see with my clients when they come and work with me, is the moment they're about to break through that glass ceiling. Thank you for all of the likes, by the way, over on TikTok. The moment that they are about to get to the next level or have that breakthrough, right? Instead of leaning into the resistance, they lean out, they constrict, they start going over how they're going to fail, how they're going to be shamed, how they're going to be judged, how they're going to be rejected, how the success is too much, how it's going to be too much hard work, constrict, and then they back to square one. They're back to where they started, and then they look at their life, but they're like, I'm trying. I'm doing the things. I listen to the podcast. I try to integrate. I try to implement. I've bought 3 masterclasses this year that helped me with my subconscious mind. It's that I had like a good analogy for it the other day, but basically it's like this addiction to personal development work. They feel they're doing it all, and all they're doing is they're blowing up this bubble of their nervous system. And the moment it's about to get really, really good, they constrict back. And so this is why I've said thank you so much for all of the likes. This is why they always, high achievers, the reason they get to phase 3 of my woman mastery method. So phase 1 is subconscious reprogramming. Phase 2 is all about identity shifting. And then phase 3 is all about this, the regulating, right? So instead, if your comfort zone is like a balloon, you want to learn how to expand it. Okay, you're probably like, how do I expand it? Then, if that's the key to breaking through, if that's the key to actually seeing the progress that I'm working towards, how do I actually break this? Number one, something that I've been thinking about lately for myself, and I've been sharing this with my clients, is anywhere there is resistance in your life, anywhere that you're feeling that resistance and it feels really, really sticky, I need you to lean into that. I need you to lean right into that, because where there is resistance, there is always, always going to be growth. No matter what you were doing, there is going to be growth. It doesn't mean that the growth is going to come straight away. It doesn't mean that the growth is going to turn out in the way that you're envisioning, right? It's not on your standards, it's on the universe, source, God, whoever, higher self, whoever you relate to, but it's going to come. So the first thing, and I know it's like, oh, but it's so hard, like I don't want to fail. You also got to remember in things like this is that, and by the way, I've done a whole series on these different fears. So go, this is before I started filming for YouTube. So you do need to go to the Pinili podcast on either Spotify or iTunes, scroll a little bit, and you'll see like part 1, fear of judgment, part 2, fear of failure. go listen to those. I will maybe in a couple of months do like an updated version. I think I did those like nearly a year ago now. Still relevant. It's just like sometimes the topics everyone loves, I love to update. So go and listen to those anyway. But number one, leaning into the resistance, because that's where the growth is. In the fears that come up, spoke about this recently, is you always need to look at your fear. And I did this with my client, is quite literally when you have a subconscious fear, there is always a benefit to that fear, and it shows up in a form of another fear, another subconscious belief. So for example, if you have a fear of failing, you need to ask yourself, what is the I'll do my one that I did with my client today. So she has a fear of being seen, right? She wants to show up on social media, but she has this fear of being seen. So I asked her, what's the benefit for you? There is always a benefit, a subconscious benefit to any fear. That's why you keep living in that fear. And she said, well, I don't get criticized. I don't, make anyone upset. I'm not getting judged. I'm not having any confrontation. And so I said, so that benefit is actually related to the fear of rejection, being rejected. See how we've uncovered two of these fears? I have this whole process when it comes to dissolving fears that I share with all of my clients. It's part of the Woman Mastery Method. But you really want to do the work to be able to dissolve those fears so they're not acting as emotional anchors. When you hold on to fears and when you don't pop the emotional charges, they are actual. You were so pretty. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. When you don't do the work to pop the emotional charges, such as fear of rejection, fear of being seen, fear of failure, they will be emotional anchors. When you have an emotional anchor that is subconscious, it's a root, right? This is why everyone's like, get to the root. It's a root. It keeps you where you are. So you could be listening to 500 podcasts a week and, setting up a brand new morning routine every single month. But if your emotional anchors are these fears that aren't serving you, and they always have an emotion, and I could do a whole other live on this. I might actually do this because I want to relate it back to the topic I started this live, but you will always be stuck there, right? So anything subconscious, you're always going to be stuck. Anyway, as I was going, I went on a little bit of a tangent there for the question, okay, how do I expand my nervous system? So leaning into the resistance, growth always lies there. You need to kind of undo the roots of these subconscious fears, what's actually coming up in the subconscious fear. Also, asking yourself as well, when you get to that point, if you've just joined, I had a balloon analogy for expansion versus constriction when it comes to the nervous system, aka your comfort zone. You also need to start to look at, just got really, really bright. I didn't really need this ring light. Let me point it up. I need you to also start to look at what is happening in your body, why you feel that you can't be safe. Part of the work, the Woman Mastery Method that I share with all of my clients, is about getting them to ask better questions, not only to me, but to themselves. When you ask better questions, you get better answers. And I know it's like, well, obviously, but a lot of us don't do it. A lot of us don't have this problem solving attitude towards things. And so next time that you feel like really sticky or you feel like you're not safe, you need to ask yourself better questions to get to the root. And, a simple one is just asking why to get to the better question. Also, reminding your body, this is a simple one. This could be another whole other live, so I won't go too much into it. But remember, when your nervous system feels unsafe, it's the same as when we're back in caveman times and we're about to get chased by a tiger, a lion, a bear, whatever resonates with you. So quite literally, if you are wanting to go live, for example, go live. And I remember the first time that I went live on Instagram was in 2017, and I felt nauseous. I felt like I was going to vomit. I felt so sick. My nervous system quite literally picked up what happens in caveman times of a lion or a tiger chasing me. So even though I'm just setting up like this camera here, I'm looking at my phone camera, by the way, my phone camera here, and I'm like, feel so sick and so anxious. What is actually happening? Let me plug in my charger. What is actually happening is the body thinks it's about to be chased by a tiger. So of course, it is going to do anything to overshadow that. It's going to do anything to not put up your camera and go live. It's going to do anything to not dress the way you want because your friends might make fun of you, but your body thinks it's about to get chased by a tiger. And so going with the balloon analogy, instead of expanding and doing the things that push out your comfort zone and expand your comfort zone, we continuously constrict. Does that make sense? So any questions, let me know. If you're watching the replay, definitely let me know. But I thought this is always something that I love to speak about because it's something that I've been speaking about before it became trendy. I was saying this, I've had the podcast since I think the first episode was maybe the end of 2017. I don't know what happened. I don't actually think my first 30 episodes are actually available. Not that I don't want them to be. It's on like the back burner of list of to do things. But I'm going to let you go. I need to go live on Instagram. I need to get ready for some other client calls. But any questions, definitely let me know over here on YouTube. If you're watching on TikTok and you want to ask me a question, go to my YouTube, same username. You can ask a question in the comments so I can see it. But like I said, this is all part of my woman mastery methodology. This is the basis of my mastermind, which is called Woman Mastery. It's a 6-month high level mastermind. It's a hybrid mastermind as well. You get the group access, but you also get one-on-one access to me, which is pretty cool. You get all-rounded support, and it's all about overcoming those internal blockers, like what we spoke about, those roots, those subconscious roots, to be able to scale your results and your success in your wealth, in your relationships, in your career or business. So if you are really looking to live an above average life and you want to get the results that are going to get you there, this mastermind's for you. If you prefer the one-on-one private mentorship, then definitely come and send me a DM over on my Instagram. We can have a chat. We can see if it's the right fit for you. If you just want to have a chat before you apply for either, come have a chat. Anyway, I'm going to go. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much over on TikTok, and thank you so much over on YouTube if you are coming back and watching my stuff. If you haven't already, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. It really does support my channel and pushes out my videos to other like-minded individuals. If this is your first time, welcome. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next live. Bye.